On the eve of the International Day of the Teacher, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, congratulated the Algerian teachers and professors through his Twitter account. He recalled the efforts they keep making to accomplish their noble mission to accompany our young people in the building of a new Algeria. The war veteran Ibrahim Guma of Tassil in Niger was buried on Monday afternoon in Ilezi. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, dispatched an important delegation composed of the advisor of the President of the Republic, Abdelhafid Allahum, Interior Minister Kamal Beljoud, War Veterans or Mujahideen Minister Haider Biqa, and several members of the Upper House of Parliament. Several foreign delegations took part in the funeral, among them the one led by the Vice President of the Libyan Presidential Council, Musa Al-Kouni. Mr. Haider Biqa pronounced a eulogy on behalf of the deceased, saying, "Today Algeria lost the Mujahid or war veteran Hajj Ibrahim Guma. May God grant him his mercy." The name of Hajj Ibrahim Guma will remain forever engraved in the national memory of the Algerian people, in recognition of his courage, his bravery, and his actions, both during the liberation struggle and afterwards, during the phase of national construction and renewal in this beloved land.
The Bureau of the National People's Assembly ANP held a meeting on Monday, chaired by Brahim Boughali. After the minutes approval of the September 5th meeting, the Bureau forwarded 4 bills to the competent committees. They also examined the statements made by certain deputies concerning cases of incompatibility with parliamentary mandates, as well as declarations transmitted to the Committee of Legal and Administrative Affairs and Freedoms. The Bureau also transmitted oral questions of the deputies to the government members.
The project of the new terminal of the International Airport of Oran, Ahmed Ben Bella, a new gain for the city of Oran. After an inspection of the project, the Prime Minister, Minister of Finance, Ayman Ben Abdurrahman, emphasized on the need to control deadlines in the implementation of the project. I find it quite inconceivable that a project that started in 2006 has not yet been completed. Even if COSIDA faced many difficulties and constraints, it was necessary to go back to the drawing board. COSIDA stopped the project for 2 years. During these 2 years, we have the expenses of the machines, the expenses of its employees, and the follow-up. This translates a lack of control in the study of the project. From now on, we're going to give more importance to the studies of the project because it's no longer allowed to exceed the deadlines. The new terminal of Oran is powered thanks to solar energy, which makes it possible to cover 30% of its consumption, which places it in the first place at the African level. The Prime Minister also insisted on the need to encourage investment in the air sector. On the occasion, I invite all private operators to invest in air transport. We have started to receive few requests that we will study. We need new airports and new infrastructure and airline companies to cover all the national needs. Currently, we do not cover all the needs, especially in the highlands and the Great South, hence our needs for private operators. The Prime Minister, Minister of Finance, Ayman Ben Abdurrahman, emphasized on the need to accelerate the rate at the level of Oran's port. The port of Erzurum is not currently in use. The port of Oran is 70% exploited. The problem is not that of infrastructure problem, but how to use its infrastructure. I find it inconceivable that a port infrastructure works at the rate of an administration with administrative schedules. I reminded the Minister of Transport that all port infrastructure must work 7 days a week. I call on all the operators to accompany us in this line to be able to achieve the economic relaunch. The processing capacity of the new international airport terminal of Oran Ahmed Ben Bella is 3.5 million travelers per year, extended to 6 million, an infrastructure that has a modern equipment. The Prime Minister, Minister of Finance, Ayman Ben Abdurrahman, proceeded to the installation of Muhammad Aziz Derwez in his functions of Commissioner of the 19th edition of the Mediterranean Games. During the ceremony, the Prime Minister affirmed that Muhammad Aziz Derwez is an eminent sports personality who will make a definite contribution to the success of this event. The city of Oran is preparing to host one of the most important international sporting events. I am sure you are all aware of the interest granted by the Algerian state and at its head the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, in this great sports game that our country is preparing to host and which is far from being a simple sporting event. For it's an occasion to give the best image of our country, its radiation and its illustration in the Mediterranean and in the world. For his part, Muhammad Aziz Derwez said that we are before a challenge and we remain optimistic about the success of this sporting event, which highlights the potentials of Algeria and its capacity to organize big sporting events like the Premier indicated. It will be the starting point of a new strategy allowing our athletes to prepare for the Olympics and Paralympic Games of 2024. The Premier visited equally the Olympic village that will host the athletes. He expressed his satisfaction over the quality of the infrastructure and gave instructions to deliver the village of the Olympic Games next month. The contract stipulates that there must be 500 workers at the workshop level, and you tell me that only 100 are in activity? You're required to go towards a daily review and no longer a monthly one. Delay penalties will henceforth be imposed. This must change. You must have an economic and efficient approach. This situation is not specific to this site only. We will no longer tolerate such management. There must be a daily follow-up because these are public funds that are mobilized to carry out these projects within the additional deadlines. Each delay could cause additional expenditure. For instance, a project that primarily costs $1 billion would cost 15 billion dinars, a surplus of 14 billion dinars, which could have been spent for carrying out other projects in other sectors like health and education. You have thus until December 31st to deliver this project. During this inspection and working visit, the Prime Minister, Minister of Finance Ayman bin Abdurrahman ordered to make up for the delay recorded in the realization of the sports complex in anticipation of the 19th edition of the Mediterranean Games in 2022. The Prime Minister, Minister of Finance inspected the various infrastructures of the sports village. A detailed presentation on the state of progress of the work of the exterior facade and green spaces was presented to him. Thank God we will soon receive these infrastructures, in particular this Olympic village where we are currently, and which is very important achievement, built according to international standards. This infrastructure is classified 3 stars and has quality establishments for a quality reception of sportsmen and those with special needs, who will also be hosted in the best conditions. As you can notice, the construction works of the Oran Stadium are finished. There are only few alterations left for it to be delivered. The Prime Minister has instructed the local authorities to deliver all these infrastructures before the month of November of the current year. Concerning the equipment of the infrastructures, they must be done with 100% Algerian products. You have until the end of November to finalize all the work. As the Mediterranean Games approach, the public authorities have given new life to the project by lifting all the financial constraints that have delayed its delivery on time. This resulted in the injection of a sum of 2.4 billion dinars after the meeting of the monitoring committee set up by the Prime Minister held on September 8th. On the sidelines of this visit, the Prime Minister, Minister of Finance Ayman bin Abdurrahman reviewed the decisions taken during the Council of Ministers, in particular the 2022 Finance Law. The Council of Ministers, which met on Sunday, includes a focal point concerning the 2022 Finance Law, which supports the implementation of the President's program, particularly in terms of economic recovery. It's planned to review the tax on global individual income of the IRG and an increase in the index point, which will allow a significant increase in salaries. These decisions are part of the state support to individuals with average or low income in order to improve their purchasing power. The soaring prices at the level of the markets, which affects the simple citizens, is the result of the criminal practices. In this sense, the public authorities will criminalize all forms of monopolies and attacks on the purchasing power of citizens. The act of speculation and monopoly will be criminalized by a law which will be promulgated in the next 2 weeks. Still on the sidelines of his visit, the Prime Minister Ayman bin Abdurrahman harked back to President Emmanuel Macron's latest statements, qualifying them as innocuous. Algeria is by far bigger and deeper than all these statements which attempts to undermine its history and its roots. These statements are unacceptable for Algeria as a standard nation which marked history. It's more than enough to refer to Imad Ghassan, Mahsen Issa and Emir Abdel Qadir.
Upon his arrival to Addis Ababa to represent the President of the Republic at the swearing-in ceremony of the new Ethiopian government, Foreign Affairs Minister Ramtal Amamra had consultations with the Commissioner for Peace, Security and Political Affairs, Bankole Adewoye on the latest developments in Libya, Mali, the Sahel and Saharan region, and the Horn of Africa, as part of the efforts made by Algeria to promote peaceful and political settlement to crisis. I held talks with Mr. Lamamra about the security challenges in the African continent, particularly in Libya and the Sahel countries, knowing that Algeria is an active member within the African Union, and we hope to strengthen cooperation, consultation and coordination between African countries and the African Security Peace Council in order to face all challenges. The minister also held a working session with the President of the African Union Commission, Moussa Faki Mohammed, who hailed Algeria's continuous efforts in favor of peace, security and the promotion of peaceful settlements to crisis in North Africa and the Sahel-Saharan region. The Energy and Mines Minister Muhammad Arqab participated on Monday via video conference in the 21st ministerial meeting of the 23 countries signatory to the Declaration of Cooperation between OPEC and OPEC+, including Algeria, where it was agreed to increase oil production to 400,000 barrels in the month of November. We decided on this online meeting to continue increasing output for the month of November. Algeria's production share for the month of October will be 942,000 barrels per day, and in November it will reach 952,000 barrels. Through the signing of the joint venture contract between the Algerian side and a Chinese consortium, the realization of the iron deposit exploitation project of Hajj will contribute to the economic development of a large part of the southwest of the country, but also to the revival of the national economy and the promotion of the mining sector. We have one objective, that of achieving a production capacity of 50 million tons of iron per year, intended for the national market and exports. This project will generate between 3,000 to 5,000 jobs. It is a project that will ultimately boost the hotel sector. Beside the importance of these mining infrastructures, this project represents a real employment generator for young people in the region. The University Center has signed several partnership contracts for students training in the field of earth sciences in order to support the state's strategy for better exploitation of the mining resources. In addition to the importance of these infrastructures, this project represents a real generator of employment for the young people of the region. This project aims to guarantee a supply of raw, regular and uninterrupted iron, and thus promote non-hydrocarbon revenues through exports. 126 new confirmed cases of coronavirus, 4 deaths and 91 healings have been recorded during the last 24 hours in Algeria, according to the Health Ministry.
Rida Skander, a jewelry designer and sculptor. He is a passionate artist asserting in his workspace. He presents unique and magnificent pieces. I'm very dedicated in this culture of jewelry and sculpture. I will continue to create masterpieces that attract customers. I like the art of letters, especially the Arabic language. I'm also preparing an exhibition for the end of the year. This talented artist uses a few hand tools to create his beautiful art pieces. Despite his 30 years of emigration, Rida Skander makes sure to visit Algeria whenever the opportunity arises. His love to his motherland is showcased in his artwork.